If you're considering a move to Nashville, Tennessee, you're going to want to hear the truth about the weather here. In fact, Nashville has experienced 2 devastating weather events in recent years, including one that it's still recovering from. And I'll share exactly what happened near the end of the video. And I'm not going to sugarcoat anything, whether it's flooding, tornadoes, or how spring here melts more than just the snow. We're covering it all in this video, and we're getting after it right now. Nashville, Tennessee resides within what is called a humid subtropical climate, which is just a fancy way of saying the summers here are hot and the winters are relatively mild. Nashville moves through all 4 seasons as the year goes on, and each has its own distinct identity. Speaking of moving, if you're considering a life here in Tennessee, be sure to zap that subscribe button and let your hand fall on that bell so you never miss a new video. And we promise to keep producing content like this for you so you know exactly what you'll be getting into if you move here. We love our inbox being flooded by people who are thinking of a move here, and we absolutely love hearing from you. So reach out by call, text, or email, and we'll make sure you skip the storms and dodge the deluge when moving to Nashville. Couldn't you have just said we'll help you make a smooth move? Well, yeah, but weather puns. Forget it. Let's just dive in and talk about Nashville's seasons. Weather plays out like a symphony in Nashville, with each season contributing its own melody to the year. Spring in Nashville can be a wonderful time for many, with temperatures typically hovering between 60 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a time when the city really comes alive, with the blossoming of dogwoods and magnolias transforming our landscapes into living art. But bear in mind, spring is also the start of our rainy season. So an umbrella, it's a must-have accessory. The elephant in the room is that spring is also the start of allergy season here, and the aforementioned blossoming begins to spread allergens that will melt away the outdoor aspirations of many hopeful residents. As we move into summer, Nashville turns up the heat. From June to August, it's not uncommon to see temperatures soaring into the 90s?
I forgot how hot it gets here. I want to make Nashville sound horrible.
What makes it worse is the high humidity levels, which make it feel even warmer.
Yeah, great going. Keep laying it on thick. Now no one will want to move here.
Many residents find themselves spending a lot more time indoors during Nashville summers. All that being said, summers here are quite beautiful. There's an abundance of summer activities to enjoy, and there's no shortage of pools and lakes to visit to beat the heat while enjoying a day outdoors.
Attaboy, see, it's not all bad here. Crap, I forgot to tell them to wear sunblock.
When autumn rolls around, Nashville turns into a technicolor dreamscape. The intense summer heat gives way to comfortable highs in the 60s and 70s, and our tree-lined streets and parks burst into an array of fiery hues. It's the perfect time for a leisurely drive through the Tennessee countryside or a hike in one of our many nature parks. My wife just adores autumns here in Tennessee, and we think you just might too. Winter in Nashville offers a gentle reprieve from the intense cold found in many parts of the country. With highs often in the 40s and 50s, it's definitely cool, but far from unbearable. And while we do get some snowfall, it's typically not much, and it lends an undeniable charm to our cityscape. If you're from the north though, you might find this next part both amusing and annoying. Snow and ice are infrequent during Nashville winters, and because of that, the city essentially makes no preparations for their occurrence. After a few inches of snowfall, expect for just about everything to shut down, and don't count on seeing plow trucks anytime soon. Personally, I find this amusing, but when school is canceled a day ahead of time on the promise of a snowstorm, you may find yourself shaking your fist when there's no snow after all, and your kids are having a knockout brawl with each other about who gets to use the TV remote. Not that that's ever happened to me. I mentioned it earlier, so let's talk about the rain and storms in Nashville. Nashville gets a fair amount of rainfall, especially during the spring months. The city receives around 119 days of precipitation precipitation a year, adding up to an average of just over 47 inches annually. For context, this beats out Seattle, Washington, a city that has a reputation for being pretty rainy, as they measure in at about 38 inches per year. Sometimes the rain in Nashville comes in just short afternoon showers, but other times it rains all day. Again, spring is usually the rainiest season, but you should be prepared to see rain in any season here. I talk about this next point a lot on the channel, and it bears repeating. Tennessee, and Nashville by proxy, reside in an area of the US known as Dixie Alley, which is known for having a higher frequency of tornadoes than the national average. Middle Tennessee, in which Nashville resides, also gets more tornadoes annually than East and West Tennessee combined. Now, I've lived here for a decade, and I'll admit that it really doesn't feel that frequent that we see tornadoes here, and I've never heard a tornado siren in these past 10 years, but that doesn't mean they aren't a risk, especially if you talk to North and East Nashville residents about March 3rd of 2020. But we'll get to that later. The state of Tennessee gets about 50 to 60 thunderstorms per year, which often find their way over to Nashville. If thunder and lightning don't exactly give you peace, or like me, you have a precious doggo that gets anxiety at noisy weather, it's possible that the storms here could be a major turnoff. Overall, there are enough sunny days here in Nashville that most residents here find ample opportunity to enjoy the area's many outdoor activities. But we do deal with some bad along with the good. Next up, I think this will give you a lot of clarity, so here are some Nashville weather statistics. As I mentioned earlier, Nashville gets about 119 days of precipitation per year, with 47.24 inches of annual precipitation. Only 7 inches of that is snow, making rainfall the vast majority of Nashville's precipitation. May is by far the wettest month of the year in Nashville, with an average of about 5.5 inches, with spring being the wettest season of the year, dropping about 13.6 inches of rain during the season. Keep that rainfall statistic in mind because I'm gonna blow your mind later in this video. It's not always raining here, of course, so let's talk about the sun. Nashville, Tennessee gets 102 sunny days and 106 partly sunny days per year, totaling an average of 208 days of sunshine annually. Looking at it another way, during the hours between sunrise and sunset, direct sunlight reaches the ground about 56% of the time, keeping in line with many major cities in Tennessee, though falling pretty short of Memphis, Tennessee's 64% sunshine. Overall, this amounts to ample opportunity throughout the year to enjoy Tennessee's great outdoors with the warmth of the sun on your face. Temperatures in Nashville can generally be quite mild, with the hot and humid summers likely drawing the most complaints about the weather here. The hottest month of the year here is July, averaging a high of 89 degrees and a low of 69 degrees. The coldest month of the year here is January, averaging a high of 47 degrees and a low of 28 degrees. Overall, temperatures here in Nashville come out to an average high of 70 degrees and an average low of 49 degrees, making for an overall pleasant climate most of the time, which has been one of my absolute favorite parts about living in Nashville, Tennessee. And like I teased earlier, we should talk about the historic Nashville weather events. The first one I should mention is the historic flood in May of 2010. This flood saw the rainiest day and the third rainiest day in Nashville's history back to back, making for a total of 13.57 inches of rainfall across the 2 days, shattering the previous 2-day record of 6.68 inches. This record rainfall caused widespread flash flooding and river flooding through much of the mid-state. The storm killed 18 people in Middle Tennessee and at least 27 in all of Tennessee and Kentucky. Property damage estimates are hard to develop and vary widely, but they totaled into the billions of dollars and helped prompt a presidential disaster declaration for many counties in West and Middle Tennessee. 13 years later, Tennessee hasn't seen anything else like it, and most homes here don't require flood insurance. But it's worth noting, if you plan to live anywhere near a body of water, you will probably want to make sure you're prepared for the worst. Then there was the storm that dramatically changed the face of Nashville. From late in the day on March 2nd of 2020 into the early morning hours of March 3rd, several supercell thunderstorms spawned numerous tornadoes across southeast Missouri, southern Kentucky, Tennessee, and central Alabama. The worst of these tornadoes touched down across Middle Tennessee during the early morning hours of March 3rd, 2020, resulting in widespread damage, hundreds of injuries, and 25 fatalities. This devastating tornado tore its way through North Nashville, Germantown, and into East Nashville and beyond. And the scars it left are still healing to this day. A massive relief effort came to the city during these trying times and reminded us all of what Southern hospitality really is, but there's no doubt that it left Nashville rattled for a time. Again, while tornadoes and other major weather events can and have occurred in Nashville, it's worth reiterating that they are few and far between. But the city is not without its weather woes. Now, one of the things these weather events can affect is the cost of living here in the city. And while I won't cover that now, I did cover that in detail in this video right here. Making this video was a breeze. So I thank you for watching, and I certainly hope to Tennessee you soon.